Hello and welcome to my review of the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest subscription from Hatchett Partworks. This is going to be the review for issues 27 and 28, where you get half of a Chaos Rhino that's in green plastic in both of the issues, so you can make a full one. The Chaos Rhinos are £25, so to get a Rhino for £16 is fantastic. You're saving £9, but of course, you know, from third-party retailers and things, you probably get it for about 20, so in reality you're saving £4. Anyway, recently Games Workshop have made a lot of their vehicles, like the Land Raider and things, only available on the Games Workshop store, not available for third-party retailers. So just bear that in mind, that, you know, although you get a good discount, they might not have every model in the Games Workshop range, so just bear that in mind. Secondly, I just want to apologise from the bottom of my heart that this has taken such a long time to come, this video. We are in issues 50s and 60s now, and there's just been a lot of new releases, and there's been lots of other videos that I've been doing. Even in the hours that I'm not working, I look at the comments, I make the videos, all of the behind the scenes things that happen for the channel. So thank you for your patience, apologies that it's taken so long, and thank you so much for your support as well. Watching the videos and hitting that like button motivates me, and it motivates me to continue making these videos and getting them out to you. So what will happen is, over the next few weeks or so, nearly every day I'll be trying to release a Conquest video just to get up to speed. You know, when there's one model, like a Chaplain or something, or a Land Speeder, that's pretty good because I can make that quite quick. But they have released some multi-part kits, such as the Rhino and the Plague Burst Crawler and things, which do take a bit of time to make. Anyway, let's get straight into the review. Enough blabbing on. So you get issues 27 and 28. Let's just have a look at the issues themselves. So 27, it does talk about the Space Marine Rhino transport. I don't know why it's got this sort of rating system, but it says armor rating 5, speed 6, firepower 3, but it does tell you, you know, capacity like 10 Space Marines, markings and heraldry. Now the thing is, you don't have to have it as a Chaos Space Marine Rhino at all. You don't get any normal or legacy Space Marines in this subscription, which is a bit of a shame. You know, so if you do that, it's going to be for like a, you know, normal Space Marine force rather than your Primaris, because Primaris can't ride in them. They have to ride in this £20 more expensive Impulsor transport, or a Repulsor, but a Repulsor is £50, so it's a bit more expensive too. But the Impulsor, I think, has just come out, just been released, so that's £45. Anyway, back to the review. Markings and heraldry. So look, you've got battle line, veteran, things like that. You know, so you can attribute the different squad designation for your Rhinos if you wish. The Rhino chassis has been around for quite a while now. I think the Land Raider chassis came out first, a new Land Raider, then they bumped out these Rhinos, and Games Workshop have really taken advantage of them and used them very well. For many years, for 20 odd years or so, making Vindicators, Whirlwinds, Stalkers, Hunters and Predators. You know, they've made so many different Predators, unbelievable. And Forgeworld have used that chassis too, and they still continue to with the Horus Heresy range. Death Guard Rhino transport, so they've coloured it in this sort of old school Death Guard from the Horus Heresy. Really like that colour. Mine, I'll show you a slightly painted one, well it's sprayed anyway, in a moment. Angelic Vengeance, Millennium 41 Time of Outbreaks, a bit more, so iconic bit of artwork there. And then how to build a Death Guard Rhino. Very simple, straightforward, doesn't take too long. The parts that will take a long time are all the extra little bits and bobs, you know, that you want to glue on there, like the Havoc missile launcher, like all the skulls, and, you know, fair bit of mould lines on all these extra bits, so that might slow you down a bit. You've got a mission called Blockade. Lovely bit of in-game photography there, with the Lieutenant Cassius, which is unique to this subscription, and I wish they did more of this sort of in-game pictures with the models for this subscription. Then you've got Roadblock, and then it just goes to show you the next two issues, which is the other part of your Rhino, and then the Space Marine officers. So you get, I think that's a sergeant for Hellblasters, captain in Gravis armor, an Inceptor sergeant, and then a normal sergeant for your intercessors. So you get all the officers there, and I'll be doing that review very shortly. I think I've just got 2 of them left to build, and then that review will be up. Issue 28 then, we'll just move that over there. This continues and talks about the Rhino chassis in terms of the Predator main battle tank. Yeah, the Predator chassis, it's got more armour obviously than the Rhino, even though it's exactly the same chassis. Obviously it forgoes all of its troop transport capability. You've got the Predator battle tank for the Death Guard. Lovely colours that they showcase there. Death on Damnos, so a little bit about Necrons. Spear of Macragge, Mortarion, Birth of a Primarch, so it talks about Mortarion for some reason for a bit. How to paint the Rhino, give you all the ways to paint it in terms of the metallics and the shading. Yeah, it looks alright. And then transports, a tutorial mission, how to familiarise with the transports and how they work. Then you get the Chaos Rhino datasheet, very, very important that. Havoc launch is lovely weapon. Normal Space Marines don't get that, you know, but it's a 48-inch range, heavy D6, strength 5, AP 0 and damage 1. So you potentially could get 6 strength 5 shots. I wouldn't leave home without one. It's very decent. Mechanised warfare for mission briefing, and then armoured assault. And then a little preview for the next 2 issues, which is the officers, like it was in 27, and then some scenery in issue 30, which I will be doing a review for that magazine separately as well. We'll have a look at the scenery for that one. Okay, so the Rhino itself then, here is the one that I've built. I've built it in this configuration. I've got some skulls on there, we've got the little smoke launchers, I've put some hooks there, you don't need to, but I put some hooks on there. I put the spiky bull bar, or whatever you want to call it, it's not really a dozer blade. I put some more spikes on there. The door I've glued shut because this one was a bit flimsy. You can glue it tight enough, and as long as you don't cut the little extra bits of plastic from clipping it off the sprue, it will fit in there tight if you leave them on there. And all my other Space Marine ones have it open. Just for this one I've glued it shut, but you can have that open. You can magnetise the doors, you can have the cupola loose if you wish. You've got this storm bolter with this big blade on for some reason. Maybe they can rip that off and, you know, stab people with it. And then you've got the Havoc launcher, which again I've glued in. But yeah, pretty decent looking vehicle. Obviously you've got all the spikes, very spiky. You know, Chaos models are usually quite spiky, along with Eldar and Tyranid being a bit flimsy. But there you go, that's my Chaos Rhino that I've built. I'll just show you the spare parts, then we'll go on to some size comparisons, and then we'll go on to the rules for the Rhino. So here are all the spare parts. As you can see, you get an absolute load of spare parts here, from different weapon cupola to part of a Space Marine popping out. It is a Chaos Space Marine. You've got helmeted and non-helmeted version. They look like that. I think the one with the masks looks pretty cool with, you know, if you put the flamer on the sponson instead of the Stormbolter. But there you go, you can have a little Chaos Space Marine peeping out. There's the sponson flamer, pretty decent as well. Might be better game terms to have that on there instead of the Stormbolter. You've also got the hatch at the top for the you know, if you wanted to have it as a Predator, you just find a Predator turret and pop that on there. More spikes, more armor plating that you could just place anywhere really on the tank. More chains with skulls. More symbols, like you've got some Slanesh symbols. You've got the Imperial Eagle symbol if you wanted to have that, and then scratch it, or, you know, burn it, whatever, and then stick it on there. You've got these exhaust ports. I think I put them on some, but not this, and you just pop it on there, or pop it on the las cannons or something like that. You've got a searchlight as well. You've got another bit of chest plate for Chaos Space Marine. You've got their arms that would attach to the sponson weapon, shoulder pauldrons, yeah, and that's about it. So yeah, you get a huge amount of spare parts there. So that's great for your bits box if you wanted to, you know, if you got hold of a cheap old Imperial vehicle and you wanted to just chaos it up, you just wanted to acquisition it for your Chaos Force, there you go, you've got a load of nice spare parts. So that's pretty decent. You are getting a full £25 Rhino kit for £16. Let's show you some size comparisons. So firstly, this is another Rhino that I made for my Death Guard army. I think I'm going to have this Rhino because I put the 8-pointed star or whatever, it's Chaos Undivided. I think I'm going to have this as just in my Word Bearers army, even though it's kind of green plastic already. This is definitely my Death Guard Rhino. As you can see, the rear door opens and closes. I put some hooks on there for some reason, and on the front there. Oh well. I've got the Death Guard doors from Forge World, and the front armour plate looks absolutely awesome in my opinion. And we've got the Havoc launch in the same place, so there you go. No spikes and things on there, it's just a, you know, in a different spiky dozer blade thing. But yeah, there you go, and the Havoc launcher, the smoke launchers are on the back. But yeah, it's more of a streamlined kind of a non-spiky, chaosified Death Guard Rhino. I wanted it to be like that, whereas this one, the Word Bearers one, I wanted it to be all kind of spiky and, you know, in your face. So that's just a comparison with the other Rhino that I just happen to have in my collection, next to a Myphitic Blight Launcher. Yeah, it's a Blight Hauler. They're £15, but just to go show you the you know, size comparison with the Rhino. Yeah, it's a fair bit smaller. Rhino's quite a decent sized vehicle, I suppose. Next to Plague Burst Crawler. Again, you know, Plague Burst Crawler isn't that much bigger. You know, lengthwise, they're very similar, if not the same. Just obviously the tracks are very exposed. So this is another Death Guard vehicle that you will actually be getting in your collection. I don't know why, but the spikes have started to come off mine. So that's quite poor. I think I've got the spike in the box somewhere, so I might just have to sort of glue that back on. So yeah, that's just a little size comparison there. Let me show you another final one, which is one of the Plague Marines. So as you can see, apparently 10 of these fit in the Rhino, which is, yeah, it's hard to believe, but there you go. It is what it is. And then finally, just some Imperial models. Got the easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought. Just goes to show you how big this Dreadnought is compared to a Chaos Rhino. And then I've got a couple of normal Space Marines as well. I've got the you know, standard Space Marine, which you sort of can believe that 10 of those fit in there. And then you've got a Primaris, which, yeah, I don't know whether they'll ever change the rules for Primaris to fit into Rhinos, but there's a nice little size comparison there for you with a load of models. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I'll talk about the rules for the Chaos Rhino. I'll just go through the data sheet that you get with issue 28. So it's a power points cost of a 4. It's obviously a transport option. Its movement, it's one of these vehicles that the more it gets damaged, the more it affects it. So if it's got 10 wounds normally, so if it's got between 6 and 10 wounds, then a movement speed is 12 inches, still quite fast. Ballistic skill is 3+, and attacks is 3. If it's 3 to 5 wounds, then a movement speed is 6 inches, ballistic skill 4+, and attacks D3. And then the wounds between 1 and 2, it's movement 3 inches, ballistic skill 5+, and attacks 1. Its weapon skill is 6+ anyway, its strength is 6, its toughness is 7, it's got 10 wounds, quite decent, leadership 8, and a save of 3+. The Chaos Rhino is a single model equipped with a combi bolter and Havoc launcher. So the combi bolter, I think I've mentioned it was a storm bolter, but it's a combi bolter, a bit different. Range 24 inches, rapid fire 2, strength 4, AP 0, and a damage of 1. It already comes with that Havoc launcher, so that's pretty awesome. It's a 48-inch range, heavy D6, strength 5, AP 0, and a damage of 1. Abilities, it's got self-repair. You roll a dice at the start of each of your turns. On a 6, this model regains 1 lost wound, so it can repair itself. Smoke launchers. Once per game, instead of shooting any weapons in the shooting phase, this model can use its smoke launchers until your next shooting phase. Your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for ranged weapons that target this vehicle. That's great, it adds a bit more survivability to the vehicle. And explodes. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 before removing it from the battlefield and before any models disembark. On a 6 it explodes, and each unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. That's quite straightforward. This model can transport 10 Death Guard infantry models. It cannot, however, transport Terminators. Now, it says Death Guard, it can transport 10 Chaos infantry models, it's fine. Keywords: Chaos Nurgle, Heretic Astartes, Death Guard, Vehicle, Transport, and Chaos Rhino. So that is the rules for the Chaos Rhino. Very common vehicle on the battlefield. It's a must, in my opinion, for transporting your Death Guard, especially if you've got 10 Plague Marines or something. You know, they are very slow. Death Guard are very slow anyway, if you want to use it as a Death Guard Rhino. So having them move 12 inches is, yeah, a real blessing. Nurgle blessing, Papa blessing. But you get where I'm coming from. You need to get them in effective range quickly. This is a vehicle to do it. Failing this, go for a Land Raider. Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this review of both of the issues and of the Chaos Rhino. It's great to be back reviewing these Conquest magazines. I hope you find some worth from them, even though they're quite old. I personally have reviews and things running in the background when I paint and build miniatures, so even if it's of models and content that has been around for a while, I thoroughly appreciate the company. That sounds a bit sad, but you get where I'm coming from. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Papa bless.